and I'm just here. I guess I'm the token secular white guy. I'm a proud Washingtonian, but I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. And growing up in Detroit, my mother would often take me down to Dearborn. Back in the day, we go there to have good food and to see different cultures. My mom was always exposing me to these things. But I never even knew of Palestine. I mean, I was 18 years old sitting in a bar in Spain and somebody started talking about Palestine. It took that long for someone who lived in Detroit to find out about Palestine. And I was always under this Zionist impression that's taught in our school systems, seriously taught in our school systems, that Israel was the only state that existed in that area. And it was the land that these Europeans came that were oppressed, and they came in there and they built up this country. And the reason I bring up this story is because it's still taught today. I lived 20 years in Los Angeles. I was in the film and television business. And my children went to school in Santa Monica. They went to Santa Monica High, and one of the better teachers there, she was teaching a class in the Holocaust. And I went in and I met with her at the beginning of the semester, and I said, "Are you going to teach about all the Holocaust or just the one Holocaust?" "Oh no, of course we're going to touch on all the Holocaust." And I said, "Good, because there's a Holocaust going on in Palestine, and there's a Holocaust with American Indians, with Native Americans. There's a Holocaust that took place in Africa. There's a Holocaust all across with the Armenians, with, I mean, you could probably go on with Holocaust and genocide, unfortunately." And she promised that she would she would teach these things. And I kept watching my son's homework when he would come home from school. And weeks went on. And in the last week of the semester, I realized that she was only going to teach about that one Holocaust that took place in Europe in the 1930s and 40s. And I went in and I said, I'll take an hour off. I was, do these 15-hour days in film. And I said, I will take a day off school, a day off work. And I will come to school and I will just talk about these other issues, these other Holocausts that are taking place, like the Nakba. And she guaranteed me I would have that time. And she boxed me out, would not allow it. She taught an entire semester about one group of people that have had a difficult time, a genocide, a Holocaust, what you want to call it, in Europe. And I was really, it brought home to me that this was one of the better teachers. This is the teacher everybody wanted their kid to have in this class. And I was so distraught. I was so depressed. And it just brings home the fact that if we don't get the message out, people aren't going to understand. They're not going to understand what we're talking about. I have friends in Hollywood that I work with side by side. I would bring up the Palestinian issue. They were afraid. It had nothing to do with they didn't understand or they did, they were clear on the issue. They were older people. They knew what was going on, but they were afraid to talk out. There's an immense amount of fear that's associated with the issue of Palestine and occupied Palestine. It's a huge issue. And it boils down to religion. And when you go to Palestine, you realize it has nothing to do with religion. It's not a religious issue at all. Not on their side or not on the Palestinian side. It's all about confiscation of land. It's about ripping off. It's about people who want stuff that other people have and they don't have a right to it, and they have to figure out a way of going around and confiscating stuff that doesn't belong to them. Last night, Code Pink showed the movie 5 Broken Cameras, and if you haven't seen it, I really hope you can get out and see it. We showed it on the APAC building down there on Massachusetts and 8th Street where they meet.
Outside of APAC?
Outside of APAC, on the street. There were 30 policemen there. We were very peaceful. They, of course, didn't watch the movie. They just stood off to the side and talked. I wish they would have watched the movie. But you can see how much power there is around this issue, that 30 police, 10, 15 cop cars of different sizes were there, ready to take us all away. Because we were dealing with an issue that really needs to be talked about, needs to be spoken. And I'm not going to go on too long, but because I could filibuster this whole thing. The first time I went to Gaza, I came to the border. It was after Operation Cast Lead, unfortunately. We were watching CNN at the Code Pink House here in Washington, D.C., and we're looking there, and every time they would speak on Operation Cast Lead, which of course the reporters weren't allowed to get in to witness what was really taking place inside Gaza, they would show a picture of Israel or occupied Palestine, the West Bank, and Gaza. And you'd look at this and you'd go, as an average American, you might go, wow, that big old kidney bean shaped piece of land called the West Bank, that's a lot of land. That looks like a lot of land right there. Why aren't they really happy with just that land? If you're just the outsider, just looking at it. But we knew that this was not the real picture of Palestine. It's a Swiss cheese. It's got giant holes inside of it. If even CNN would broadcast the real picture of what Palestine would look like, if you really put the picture up there, people would question it in this country. They go, why does that piece of land have a lot of little holes in it? Why are there pieces cut out of somebody's land? And you would ask the question, and you'd find out about these Bantustans. You'd find out about special areas, and Area C and Area A and Area D and what have you in Palestine, and then you'd go, this is not right. And we went to the border. We were at the border. We decided we have to go and see what's going on there. And we went to Cairo. We got to the border. We didn't even know if we'd get in with Gaza and Egypt and the Sinai. And I was a little afraid, actually. I actually called my mother, and I've been through a lot of stuff in my life. I've been all over the place. And I called my mother and I said, well, I'm going into Gaza. Love you. And when we got through the border, I looked and I'm going, oh my God, there's people selling oranges. There's a lady pushing a kid in a child carrier. There's cops standing there directing traffic. It was like we hadn't left Egypt. But you get this picture in your mind of this place that is full of terrorists, and even me, I'm a little worried about it when you go there. And I found out the most loving, affectionate, amazing people I've ever met were in Gaza. And I'll tell you this story is that we went and we met with the Red Cross because we had the Red Crescent, and we had a bunch of gifts we wanted to bring. And we went down and they were making these gift baskets. They brought some of the young Palestinian youth that were there, and there was one girl who had a cell phone, and she was bugging the other boys, and she was really bubbly and nice and cute and everything, and I'm going, oh my God, this is my niece. And you get to compare with what you have in Palestine. And then I found out that she was actually, her job in Operation Cast Lead was to pick up the dead bodies. This is what she volunteered for. She was in the ambulances, and she'd run out, pick up the injured and the dead, and she was able to survive that and to still be a good, wonderful, bubbly person. I mean, these people have an amazing strength that I cannot even imagine. The things they've gone through, and it made me decide at that moment that I really want to make sure that people understand in this country how important it is to support Palestinian causes. So that's what we work on. I hope you come out to AIPAC. AIPAC, when we protest at AIPAC, you'll see the power that the Zionist lobby does have in Washington, D.C. It's amazing, and we need so many more people out there. All I can say is thank you so much for having me here, and I do appreciate it. And come talk to me if you want to talk about more stories, because I have a million stories about Palestine and Quds, and I love Quds so much. So thank you for having me tonight.